Previously on 10 albums in 10 days. Previously on 10 albums in 10 days. Hey guys, it's me with a microphone here. Welcome back to 10 albums in 10 days. I've made it a whole week. Tool. The band I have so much difficulty with. Now don't get upset. I love Tool, but I am not as hardcore a fan as a lot of Tool fans are. But I'm going to put that aside for one moment and talk about how I discovered Tool first. I was watching Kerrang! In my bedroom, humble brag, when I was about 15 or 16, a bedroom that was big enough for a single bed and a wardrobe, and that was about it. And a song came on that I hadn't seen or heard before. That song was called Rapture. Now, you may be thinking, Lee, Tool don't have a song called Rapture, and you know what? You can have 10 points because you're smart and you're absolutely right. No, they do not. The band that I had actually just discovered was called Hurt, a criminally underrated band. The music video for Rapture is really cool. It's like this stop motion animation type deal, kind of like a lot of Tool's music videos, and the song itself is so good. Definitely listen to the album version of Rapture though, as opposed to the music video, because they cut out quite a lot of the music in it and it doesn't really give you the full story, the full experience. Anyway, once the video had finished, I made a little note of the song and the band on a piece of paper, humble, with a mind to check them out once I could motivate myself to get out of bed. But then an advert came on, one that piqued my interest significantly. It was really vague. From what I can remember, it was just like black and white basically, and then this image came up that said Tool 10,000 days. Colour me intrigued, said a 15 or 16-year-old boy. We'd made 2 discoveries in less than 6 minutes. Ooh, it was a good Kerrang! Day. Then My Chemical Romance came on, so I turned off my TV and went to my computer. Sometime later, I purchased Hurt's Volume 1 album and Tool's 10,000 Days album. And I have to admit, when I was putting this list together, and this will annoy some Tool fans, I couldn't figure out which one I actually wanted to go with on this list. Evidently 10,000 Days beat it by a little bit. These bands are vastly different. One is iconic, Tool. The other is barely recognised by anyone. However, my personal journey with these bands has skewed a little bit more towards Hurt than it has Tool, which again will probably upset some Tool fans, but I think Hurt fulfilled something that I didn't realise I needed in my music until I discovered Devin Townsend. Emotion, which isn't to say that Tool is emotionless, not in any way, shape or form, but at the time I think I connected better with Hurt than I did Tool. I leant more towards the straightforward rock metal genre at the time, and the progressive style that Tool had, where the songs were quite long and they were maybe a little bit repetitive, was a bit foreign to me, so I didn't connect with that album or them as a band as much as I have done over the years. So it seems clear that perhaps I have made some sort of mistake with this list by going with Tool instead of Hurt, but here's the thing. Hurt's follow-up album was Volume 2, followed by Goodbye to the Machine, and then ultimately The Crux. Volume 2 is as good, if not better, than Volume 1. Goodbye to the Machine only has 3 good songs on the album. The rest have been deleted from my playlist. And The Crux it's so vapid to me anyway. I haven't been able to listen to it more than once. Maybe I need to give it another go, but it's just, there's something missing from The Crux. Whereas Tool, until last year, that was it. For like 13 years, I didn't get any more Tool music outside of their previous catalogue. So over the next 13 years, 10,000 Days became sort of legendary to me, and I presume Tool fans in general are not really connected in that circle, so I don't know. And each time I listened to it, I gained a better understanding of what Tool were trying to say with their music, and I grew to really love their style of music. I was able to explore their earlier works, and I really grew to love Lateralis as well. But again, I have to bring up a negative point with Tool, in that their other albums outside of Lateralis and 10,000 Days I don't really like. I like the song Sober, But that's really about it. Enema and Undertow really do nothing for me, and Fear Inoculum, man, I really need to give it another go, because the first time I listened to it, I just found it fucking boring. I realise I'm being a little bit negative up until now, and I'm probably pissing off a lot of people. So for that, I apologise. So, to make it up to you, for the rest of this video, I'm just going to talk about why I fucking love 10,000 Days. I'm going to discuss this album in the way that I discovered each song that's on it. I can't really remember why it happened the way that it did. It's going to seem completely random, but I think that there was actually a good trajectory as we go through. So, after all that negativity and preamble, we start our journey in 10,000 Days with this song Right Into. Pretty much the last song on the album, which is odd, except for Virginity Tres, however it's pronounced, which you can probably consider more of an epilogue than an actual song. I don't recall why I started with this song or why I took to it before the rest of the album, but I was playing it on repeat for ages, learning it on guitar and playing it all the time. I'm not a religious man myself, but I really dig the story that this song presents. You can almost put aside the religious imagery of this song and just realize that what it's talking about is that we fight each other over differences and over resources, when actually if we just worked together, things would be a lot easier and we would make it further faster. Anyway, we could stray into political shit really easily, so let's just let's move on. My friend Harrison started getting into the album around the same time, and he suggested that I listen to the song Rosetta Stoned next, based solely around the lyric "Got me seeing E motherfucking T," which is brilliant. Needless to say, that started an obsession with this song, and then he pointed out that Lost Keys plays its part in the start of Rosetta Stoned, acting as a kind of prelude, if you will. Jambi came next, mainly because I really liked the guitar riffs with their little trills and the percussion that follows along with it, which I suppose you could say about every Tool song. But remember, we're talking about my first experience with Tool this time, so that's why it really caught my attention. The bass is really funky. This is a bass, and Maynard's vocals are really hypnotizing, like throughout. It really grabs your attention, which again you could say about every Tool song. The opener to this album comes next, and it quickly became my favorite song on the album until the next entry. Vicarious really struck a chord with me, because we all enjoy like visceral TV shows like crime dramas and violent action movies, but I don't think many, if any of us, would want to experience it in person. I'm going to briefly talk about Lip and Conjuring and Virginity Tres, however it's pronounced, now, because there's not really a lot to talk about. At the time of discovery, this sort of thing was quite foreign to me, but I did really take a liking to Lip and Conjuring because of the vocal harmonies in it. It's very, very pretty. And Virginity Tres, whatever it is, sounds a bit freaky, but cool at the same time, so I'm good with it. Intention is a really chill piece of music. I think it's the only song on the album that hasn't got any distorted guitars in it, and it's stunning to listen to. It really is. I think it's 7 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like 7 minutes, if that makes any sense. I really like its placement on the album in between Rosetta Stoned and Right Into, because we've just come from a mental story about being abducted by aliens, and then we're about to experience being judged by the angels above because we constantly make mistakes as human beings. It's just a nice little way to relax before, you know. Then we have 3 remaining songs. We have Wings for Marie, 10,000 Days, and The Pot. As we approach day 10 of this list, we get ever closer to what I now desire from my music: emotion. And I think without realizing it at the time, Wings for Marie and 10,000 Days was the genesis of that ideal. For the sake of ease, I'm going to refer to Wings for Marie and 10,000 Days as one track, and I'm going to call it Wings for Days. If you can listen to Wings for Days without getting even a little bit emotional, you are dead inside and you need to go see a doctor. Because, f me dead, you have 17 minutes of pure brilliance with Wings for Days. I think it's my favorite Tool track. You may think differently as a Tool fan, and that's absolutely fine. You can make an argument for many of their songs like Sober, Lateralis, Schism, but for me, it's Wings for Days. F me dead. It is absolutely beautiful. The way that both songs erupt into the same outro heavy riffs after leading you on this long journey with these nice calm guitar parts and these low deep vocals. And the mirroring outros where we finally get to the point where Maynard's mother is able to get her wings, be accepted into heaven and become an angel. It's so good. I mean, it chokes me up every time. You are simply not allowed, I'm sure by law, to listen to only one part of this track. You have to experience the whole track from start to finish, or you're just a bad person. Kind of like the Holy Trinity of Devon Townsend's Ocean Machine album with Funeral, Bastard and The Death of Music. You have to listen to them all back to back, or you're just straight up a horrible person, alright? And finally there is The Pot, a song that I straight up forgot existed until about 2 years ago when I saw the Brass Against cover of the song, which is incredible. You should definitely go check it out. I'll put a link in the description and like a title card, whatever it's called, up there. I remember really not liking The Pot when I first listened to the album. I thought it stuck out like a sore thumb, and I much preferred the transition from 10,000 Days to Lip and Conjuring. I just thought it flowed better, it sounded nicer, and I became so used to that transition that I just straight up forgot that The Pot even existed. Then I heard the Brass Against version of it and I thought, this is a really cool song, perhaps it's from one of their older albums. So I googled it and realized I'm a complete idiot. So I downloaded it once again and I really like the song now. I was definitely wrong in my prior assumption of it, but I will say I do prefer the transition from 10,000 Days to Conjuring. I just think they complement each other. So that's it. That's 10,000 Days by Tool. A really difficult and random journey, for sure. But now I think it's absolutely fantastic from start to finish. I love this album. Let me know what you think of 10,000 Days and Tool as a whole in the comments down below. We'll have a wee discussion about it. Check back tomorrow for day 8 of my 10 albums in 10 days list. Here is the outro screen. There's a playlist there for the rest of the list up there. And then there's also a video that YouTube would like to recommend to you. Huh? How nice of them. Stay safe. Wear a goddamn diggly face mask. And have a great rest of your day.